Hi there, you love cartoons, right? Animation? Of course you do. Otherwise, why would you click on this video? Around here, we've been talking about animation for a while now. Breaking down theories, sharing ideas, even creating our own projects. Basically, we're trying to move the industry forward. Or, well, at least we like to think we are. And hey, let's be real. We've all had a good laugh at those awkward attempts to make a fully AI-generated cartoon. You know the ones I'm talking about. But imagine this. Something just came out recently. A project that doesn't just challenge everything we talk about. It insults you as a viewer. Like straight up calls you an idiot for even considering it. It's a cash grab that scams an entire country, tears the industry apart, and here's the kicker. There's not even a human behind it. It's something they want to mass produce. And if you think that's wild, wait, it gets crazier. And now imagine this. How would you feel about paying for your groceries? Not with cash, not with a card, but with frames from a cartoon. Yeah, that's right. The entire animated film is one big NFT scheme. A movie designed to turn a whole country into a playground for this nonsense. Oh, and get this. These geniuses didn't stop at just one AI cartoon. Nope, they even made an animated film about a little girl in a World War II concentration camp. In the style of Coraline. You think I'm joking? I wish I was, but I'm not. Alright, let's get to the main topic. Today we're diving into what they're calling an animated film, if you can even call it that. It's called Belovezhskaya Pushcha. And yeah, it's from Belarus. You know, that place over there, in case you got confused. Oh, and before you get confused by the name, Pushcha basically means a vast, dense, almost impassable forest. And as for Belovezhskaya, well, there's no exact translation for that. It's just the name of the region where the forest is located. Alright, now that we've got that little educational detour out of the way, let's dive straight into witnessing this nightmare. So, this so-called cartoon is being hailed by its creators as the first animated project in the world, made entirely by AI. Did nobody tell them where the robots grow? Beat them to it. Actually, scratch that. I'm pretty sure they do know. But apparently, that doesn't stop them from proudly claiming to be the first in the world. And you know what's the real kicker here? This isn't just some innocent experiment. Nope, it's a full-blown cash grab aimed at squeezing money out of the audience. Here's why it matters. The funding for this project didn't just fall from the sky. It came straight out of taxpayers' pockets. That's right. The creators somehow managed to secure funding from the country's cultural fund to bring this monstrosity to life. And if their plan works, you can bet we're in for a flood of these so-called masterpieces in theaters. Why? Because the creators are bragging about making Belovezhskaya Pushcha in just 2.5 months. 2.5 months. Can you imagine the tidal wave of AI-generated garbage that could hit the big screens? All of it. Paid for with your hard-earned cash. Or, well, in this case, the hard-earned cash of Belarusian taxpayers. And let's be honest, I doubt they're thrilled about where their money is going. But hey, it's all under the banner of cultural support, right? And then as the flood of YouTube videos criticizing this AI cartoon started pouring in, guess what? Mentions of who funded the project mysteriously disappeared from their official website. Huh. How convenient, right? But don't worry, this little rabbit hole has plenty more surprises in store for you. I honestly think it's our duty to talk about this, to break it all down and really dig into the details. So don't forget to smash that like button, drop a comment, and hit subscribe, because it actually helps speed up the release of new videos on the channel. Oh, and the most liked comments might even make it into a future video. Alright, let's start with the basics of this whole story. A little while ago, a trailer for this so-called animated film dropped on YouTube. And honestly, nobody would have even noticed it until small YouTube channels started rolling out waves of critical videos. And I thought to myself, what is this? Is this the start of a new meme, a trend? I had to see it for myself. So I clicked on it and oh my god, it's terrible. What is this? Who made this? The characters don't even match their lip syncs. Their movements are so unnatural. It's like watching robots trying to walk. Sometimes their teeth disappear. And forget teeth, if you're older than 5, you'll notice the character designs change from scene to scene. As for the cinematography, what cinematography? It's non-existent! But you know what really got me? It's not just the blatant copy-pasting of Disney and Pixar style, proving the creators didn't even try to come up with something original. Nothing. My biggest problem with this cartoon, the eyes. As many of you know, eyes are the window to the soul. But looking into the eyes of these kids, I lost the ability to speak. It's like they were draining my soul, leaving behind nothing but a cold, empty void. So this is what animated films are now. This is what we're supposed to accept. Horrified by what I'd just seen, I immediately set out to uncover the backstory behind this abomination, this outright insult to the human eye. Turns out, this so-called animated film is the brainchild of a Belarusian studio called Arteki. a studio that proudly positions itself as forward-thinking creators, claiming to push the boundaries of animation alongside new technologies. They genuinely believe that AI-generated cartoons are the future and could even rival the likes of Disney. Okay, sure, there's some logic to that, especially when you think about Disney's recent misses, like that Lion King prequel with Mufasa or whatever that thing was. But back to the point. In reality, Belovezhskaya Pushcha is such a hollow, uninspired mess that it's not even worth reviewing. Why should I waste my time analyzing something where human creativity wasn't even involved? Every single frame of this film was generated by neural networks. Poor Arteki wanted to be Pixar or Disney, to grab some of that sweet multi-million-dollar box office revenue. But there's just one tiny problem. They lack the skills and the experience. So instead, they bought some AI tools, probably just one, let's be honest, and cranked out a bunch of disjointed frames. Then they slapped them together into something vaguely resembling a trailer, or as they call it, a movie. The story? Oh sure, there's technically a story. Some kid goes to the forest, meets a girl and a bison, and they search for a magical tree. Then apparently they get married, because why else are they suddenly adults at the end? And of course, they live happily ever after. The creators are so proud of themselves, loudly proclaiming to be the first in the world to mess up. I mean, create an AI-generated film. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the plot itself was written by AI too. And then they just dumped it on YouTube. But here's the kicker, this isn't their first masterpiece. Arteki already has several of these AI experiments under their belt. So what's going on here? Are they testing the waters to see what goes viral? Or have they figured out how to scam not just 5-year-olds but also wealthy investors? Imagine this. Some rich businessman, dreaming of becoming a co-owner of the next Disney, stumbles across Arteki. They show him a trailer that looks like a bootleg Frozen, and he's hooked. Wow, this is the future. Let me throw money at this studio and become a partner in the next big thing. But here's the twist. He doesn't understand anything about animation. It's just like the gaming industry, where clueless investors fund garbage projects. Arteki counts on that ignorance to sell their Pixar-level vision, and it works! Think about it! To convince Belarus's cultural fund, made up of older folks who probably don't even know what AI is, they showed off clips from this trailer, calling it a technological breakthrough, on par with Nvidia or Microsoft. Do you see how Arteki is fooling the people funding them? If you still don't believe me, here's the most ridiculous part. They're already putting up stands in theaters to promote Belovezhskaya Pushcha. But since AI didn't generate any proper concept art or character PNGs, the standees are laughably bad. Like, the bison is literally missing legs. It's pathetic. But you know what's worse? The hypothetical rich businessman funding this mess, yeah, he's not using his money. No. The funds come from Belarusian taxpayers. Their hard-earned money funneled into so-called cultural projects like this. And here we are, folks, in this dark, twisted world, where Belovezhskaya Pushcha exists. The creators proudly proclaim that most animated films take around 6 years to make, but they made Pushcha in just 2.5 months, and just think, if their little experiment succeeds, we'll be flooded with AI garbage like this in theaters everywhere. Now, don't get me wrong, AI can be incredibly helpful. Nobody's denying that, but relying on it completely, that discredits the very idea of creativity. And when mass-produced junk like this takes over, we could be heading straight into a cinematic crisis. A crisis just like the one that once nearly killed the gaming industry. Back then, games were on the verge of death in the 80s because the market was oversaturated with low-quality trash. And without drastic intervention, games might not have even survived into the 2000s. Do you get what I'm saying here? Belovezhskaya Pushcha is a shining example of total apathy. Nobody cares. Nobody cared so much that even the trailers for this film are different. Wait, didn't catch that? Let me explain. Most of you have probably seen clips from their main trailer. But if you dig a little deeper, like into their YouTube shorts, you'll find they're showing kids an entirely different version of the trailer. Same voices, but completely different character designs. And you know who this is aimed at, right? It's for those who haven't even developed their taste yet. For kids. Kids who won't realize what they're being sold. It's so pathetic. Oh, and by the way, as of writing this, these geniuses have already changed the description on their website to remove any mention of Belarusian taxpayers funding this mess. Wow, how convenient, right? But, excuse me, what happened to your pride? Where's all that chest thumping about making the first ever AI-created cartoon? And this isn't even the end of it. These same creators are behind other cartoons too, one about colorful creatures they're calling their minions, another one about humanoid potatoes. Yeah, potatoes! And if their experiment works, they're ready to churn these out forever. Oh, and their trailers? They've got several for upcoming movies that they claim will hit theaters soon, but guess what? Each one is a complete fraud, designed solely to milk grants and funds from cultural organizations. What are we even talking about when these geniuses have a cartoon about a little girl from World War II? Supposedly, she was a prisoner in a concentration camp, and this is her historical story. I mean, come on, it's bad enough that they're exploiting public ignorance, creating projects just to milk money out of clueless 80-year-old politicians who barely even know what the internet is. But to stoop so low as to exploit the worst war in human history? Am I the only one who finds this disgusting? Or is everyone else okay with this? Right now, AI-generated animated films are attracting all kinds of grants and funding because it's the trendy thing to do. But let's be real, most of these projects aren't about art, they're about getting the money. Behind the flashy claims of being the first AI cartoon, there's nothing more than a cheap way to drain budgets. And the damage? It's not just to the audience, it's to the reputation of the entire industry. Just look at Pushcha. Doesn't it make you angry? Angry that your tax dollars, or in this case, the tax dollars of Belarusian citizens, are being wasted on something thrown together in a month by an AI, while everyone screams about what a breakthrough it is for the industry? Isn't it pathetic? Think about it. Doesn't it hurt to see real art replaced by disposable junk? To see funds meant to support real artists and animators being wasted on cheap AI garbage dressed up as progress and cultural support? And our tech studio? Well, it doesn't even feel like a real studio. These folks are here for one reason, to milk as much money as possible. And their founders? Oh, they're neck deep in all sorts of shady crypto and NFT schemes. One of the founders even managed to convince cultural funds that tying a cartoon to NFT technology would somehow boost the country's GDP and bring in massive profits. In simpler terms, they're trying to make Belarus the NFT capital of the region, rake in piles of cash and have people paying for a can of Pepsi with frames from a cartoon. I genuinely don't understand how they pitched this to cultural funds or how anyone agreed to it without realizing it's pure nonsense and an obvious scam. Unreal. We've always loved animated films for their soul, their stories, their uniqueness, for the way they can inspire us. But this flood of AI-generated trash, it can't inspire. It can't even make us smile. It's nothing but a poorly stitched illusion, designed to steal money and justify the existence of people who have no idea how creativity works. And you know what? If we stay silent and just accept this, things will only get worse. We'll be drowning in this meaningless content, and real animated films will become nothing more than a memory. That's why it's important to talk about this now, to show that the audience isn't stupid, that we see when we're being handed a cheap knockoff instead of real art. If you feel the same way, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, and hit subscribe. It helps new videos come out faster and brings more people into the conversation who actually care. And you know what? It's working! Artec is in such a rush that they're scrambling to remove mentions of where the funding for Pushcha came from, which means we're having an impact, and we're not stopping here. For now, I'd really appreciate it if you could help this channel grow. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment. I'm doing my best here, and I truly hope we'll see each other again. See you next time!